More of Chicago's Morning Answer continues now on AM 560, The Answer.
Don't forget that you can watch Chicago's Morning Answer on the Income Store live video stream every morning at 560theanswer.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560.
Just want to tell you both good luck. We're all counting on you.
The Answer.
That's appropriate. Amy Jacobson here. Sean from Elmwood Park sitting in here on this final hour of AM 560. The Answer.
I love the morning show.
I love the morning show. Carpet, lamp. I love it. Love it. Okay, Ron Burgundy. Just talking off air, I signed up for a triathlon this weekend.
Yeah. How's the training going?
I might have to start. Well, yesterday I biked 12 and then ran a mile. But I haven't thought about the swim. It's a Chicago triathlon, and I'm doing it.
You're going to be fine. Did you ever see the people in Chicago? You got a bunch of teachers, 350 pounds with big belly buttons competing against you. You lose this, you're a real sucker.
Well, the worst part is the swim because people have panic attacks in my age group, and they glom on you, so you got to kick them.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you. So I spread out, and I do the side stroke and the breaststroke. I don't do elementary stroke.
I think you should distract everyone. Just get ready in your bikini for a while and see how many people you distract. Jump in.
It's called a two-piece.
Oh, they don't call it a bikini anymore?
No, it's not. I never
Really?
called it a bikini. It's always a two-piece.
Sure it is.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Another big government intervention. Apparently, there's a lawmaker in Missouri who introduced a bill about social media addiction reduction technology, otherwise known as SMART. And that will ban addictive social media features. With more on the bill, the pros and cons of it, and what exactly is it, let's welcome to the program Daisy Soderberg Rivkin. Yes, I did not.
That's a nice moniker. It's
Thank
going to be
you.
hard for you to get a license
She's
plate, though.
Policy Fellow in Technology and Innovation at R Street Institute. And welcome to the program, Daisy. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
All right. So what is in the SMART Act and how does it work?
Well, the bill, which is pretty ironically named, is essentially telling us that the use of social media is, in fact, an addiction. Now, this is, keep in mind, coming from a senator who has been on the record saying that we can compare social media to a drug addiction, essentially, and that it should be treated as such and should be regulated by the government as much as possible. This particular bill is telling us that that people are developing this addiction to social media, and as such, there are certain things that must be made almost illegal so that we're no longer made to be addicted to this type of platform.
Well, how can how can the government stop me from using the internet or my smartphone?
So they're not going to stop you from using your smartphone. What they will be doing is trying to remove certain features of social media, such as infinite scrolling, which is essentially when you're on your Facebook page and you start scrolling down and it automatically refills the page with the following content, as opposed to going down and asking you, would you like to see more? So that would be infinite scrolling. Another thing that it would be removing are any kind of features that would reward you for using social media on a constant basis. Things such as Snapchat streaks is one of the things, which gives you a certain badge, almost a badge of honor when you and your friend have been exchanging Snapchats for long periods of time. So things like that. He believes that as we remove more of those features, people will be less inclined to be using social media as constantly. Another important part of this bill, however, is that he is telling us that we should only be on social media for 30 minutes a day. And what it says is that you can opt out of the 30 minutes a day, but it will automatically go back to a time limit of 30 minutes a day every first of the month. So you don't really have a choice at the end of the day.
So Daisy, I'm an old man, and I could tell you're a young girl, and I am
Sure.
so
A young lady.
I am so disgusted. You're going to learn as you get older that what these politicians, you want to shut a politician like this up? Tell him we're going to limit his time in the tavern to 30 minutes. And I got news for you. He'll sit down and shut up, because what he's really afraid of is that social media is used to out the skullduggery that happens by these lawmakers. And the notion
Oh,
that
100%.
some ridiculous old fraud could somehow limit every single human being, American, to anything makes me sick to my stomach.
Well-
Now, do I think that social media has its problems? Yes, but I'm old. I watched it just take over society, and maybe
Yeah, kids don't
it's
even
not as
watch
bad
TV
as
anymore. They watch
Right.
YouTube.
But maybe
all
it's not
day.
as bad as we think it is, and maybe it's actually
No, it's bad.
helpful.
It's bad. I had to take my oldest to the doctor the other day because he thinks he's got a problem with the hunched shoulders. And I said, well, yeah, because you're hunching over, looking at your phone.
But at no time
It-
does a
for
senator get
hours.
to do that. You're
Yeah.
the mom. You get to
All right,
do
so
it.
Daisy, what do big tech companies think of this bill? Your Facebooks,
They
your
think of
Twitters.
this bill the same way they think of most of Josh Hawley's bills so far. Most of his bills that have come out relating to social media or to big tech have really not been of substance. They have been a way to kind of, the way I put it is they could control eyeballs, right? You know, get this conversation going and focusing on the negative of big tech and social media. And at the end of the day, none of this legislation is going to get passed. There's a very low chance of any of this getting passed. But what it's doing, which is a little bit more worrisome, it's making kind of effective, intelligent conversations about the real issues on social media and on the internet kind of disappear. They're drowned out by a lot of these almost hissy fits that him and some of, you know, the Ted Cruzes of the world are throwing at our faces at this point.
You know what's sad? I'm a conservative who loves the Constitution, and I love the covenant between
Sure.
government and man. And I always thought that the Republicans were the ones that were supposed to stoke this. But to your point, I can't help but notice this guy's a Republican. And he's
Yeah,
really
he's a
not
freshman
that,
senator
he's
out
really
of
not that
Missouri.
old either. So what you're seeing is,
Yeah.
you know what these politicians are afraid of? And it's on both sides. They're afraid of you, Daisy, and your friends having the freedom to make your own decisions. So keep your eye on him. I'm almost checked out of the game. I'm not going to be like the 100-year-old nun with a
now
birthday.
he's dying,
Just
Daisy.
keep your eye on these guys because this is skullduggery. And notice how they wrap it in these phony bills, right? Unicorns and rainbows. And in the meantime, it's full of iron-fisted tyranny. This bill sickens me, and so does the guy who wrote it.
Absolutely. And he's not, you know, the picture of the classic conservative. And it's very interesting because, you know, he talks about this bill and saying that, you know, social media is brainwashing people. It's taking away their ability to choose, which is ironic because by actually, you know, crafting this piece of legislation, it's proposing that we actually take away freedom. So in order to give you back your freedom, we need to take away your freedom is essentially what he's saying. And, you know, he's not kind of following that classic conservative view of making sure that personal freedom is still kind of intact. In fact, he thinks that personal freedom is a danger to the citizens of the United States and that it's what enables the kinds of dangers that we see on the internet.
And he drafted a letter to Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg. Can you tell us about that?
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, he drafted a letter to Hawley, the senator, drafted a letter to Mark Zuckerberg. What was in it?
So not much was different from what we see in this bill, right? Which is that social media, again, keep in mind, this is someone who would prefer that social media didn't exist in the first place. He's been quoted as saying that what has social media and what has technology actually done for us? And I've done a number of interviews with other publications that have just, you know, you can write books, and there have been books that have been written about what social media and technology has done for us.
Well,
but, you know, he writes to these big tech companies almost, you know, chastising them over, you know, you realize how much power you have too much power, and your products are actually making the best and the brightest of this country wither away.
Well, first,
they're working on things that are not of importance, and they could be working on things that are very important. And he is going back to this classic kind of let's remove all the technology, which is, again, ironic because this is a guy who is a politician. And by nature, today, you can't function in politics without social media.
Well, and you also
Campaigns
can't become
are born
you also can't become a politician without the two main ingredients: ignorance and arrogance.
Right.
And that's what this guy has, and that's what he embodies.
Yeah.
And the problem
Yeah.
the problem isn't this. These tyrants have lived throughout history. What I'm concerned with is the lack of response from all the others, because other than this very this is a story by you. Other than this, where's the outrage? I mean, I watch a lot of news.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. So my fear
Right.
is we're becoming very comfortable with the ignorant and arrogant politicians seizing absolute control over all of our freedoms, whether it's the economy, whether it's social media. It's as minute as social media. And this, to me, in America, should be an absolute outrage. This is strictly a policy right out of the Middle East. This is a Saudi Arabian politician to me. This is the kind of thing one of their politicians would put forward, not a Republican. It's sickening.
Yeah. And what we really need right now is, I've seen many left-wing groups come out to expose kind of how idiotic a lot of these pieces of legislation are, and a few of the right-wing think tanks as well. But we need more people that are coming out from the Republican side that are going to expose this, because what it really shows is that this is not a bipartisan issue. This is an issue this is an issue of just pure neglect and pure
Fascism. It's a fascist
misunderstanding of how any of this works.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Daisy Soderberg Rivka. We'll have you back on the show again soon. Thank you. Appreciate it. She's policy.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, fellow in technology and innovation at R Street Institute, and she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news